alaikum. Welcome to Islamic Finance program. Today we are continuing our discussion on Islamic finance and modes of financing, specifically looking at musharaka. So from our last time, you will remember we were discussing home financing as a part of musharaka arrangement. In that case, we described last time that musharaka is basically partnership or joint venture where two join some sort of capital, and then they finance a business venture or any kind of asset, and they share in profit or in the loss. So today we are going to look more deeply into that home financing example we were discussing previously. So what can you remember from the last time? What were the key features when we want to buy the home? We say we want to buy home, A and B, B being bank. What were some of the key features we said from the last time?
There is musharaka, diminishing musharaka, musharaka, and then you lease it.
Yep. So they initially bought 80% was owned by a bank and 20 by the customer. And throughout the time, for example, you bank would be owning 80% of the house and you own 20, for example. Over the time, what would happen, you would lease or the rent this part that you don't owe, and in the same time, you would slowly buy equity or ownership share of the bank. So after a while, bank would end up owning less and less of the equity. Yeah?
Yes.
So after a while, maybe they would drop to 60. By this time, you would own how much? 40%, and so on. So here you would continue renting. Of course, as their share here decrease,
yours increases.
Your share increase proportionally. Yes. Also, the payment you pay as a rent also is decreasing, because now you own more of the house, so your rental payment is decreasing. Also, your ability to buy more units of this property is increasing, so your equity purchasing is accelerating as you go. Eventually, what you want to go is to zero. And here, 100%. So this is how you become owner of this property. Now, we said last time, somebody said, okay, so what's the difference between this and what bank is doing? Because you remember, sometimes in the calculation there could be similarities. For instance, why there would be similarities? Maybe in the last price. If somebody just looking at the numbers and the conventional home loan, they might look, but this looks same to us, like in terms of final number or close or something like that. Sometimes you would see that whoever is investing here in this bank, they might want to get the same profit like someone else. Okay, so investor usually, they might want to get the same profit. So they would be targeting, when they're charging you or when they're selling, they would keep that in mind. So at the end, they would say, for instance, well, you shouldn't be paying less just because you're doing something Islamically, or more, or something like that. So these things, we will see how banks calculate these profit, and if there is something there that we might improve. Is there a reason to continue as we do now, calculating this profit? Especially because when you compare that profit, if it is the same like a normal riba bank, if it is the same, this could lead to some confusion. So we'll see this benchmarking later on how it works. So now, on the surface of it, let's say in the conventional bank you do the same, but here bank is not selling you the house.
Giving loan.
Yeah. So bank here in the normal circumstances would give you a money. Yeah.
Yes.
So they would give you, for example, let's say how much was this house worth?
100,000.
100,000. Okay. 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 So bank here and you become owners, you jointly own, you rent it out and so on. Here, bank would give you 100. Okay? So bank here would give you 100. And they want from you over the time to repay this. Let's say 150. Okay?
Okay.
So this is how bank. So we said this is money for money. And this is, you are buying actually something physical asset. Now what would happen in case, of course, bank would keep what they call mortgage on the house. You know mortgage?
Yes.
When Crusaders used to go to war, they would keep this, put this mortgage, the
Yeah.
property to get something to arm themselves.
To guarantee.
You know, to get some money or something, equipment, whatever, and this would be guaranteed to death. You know, that's what it means, to the death. So this is where the word comes. But in reality, what it means is like in case you default in payment, they repossess the house. So if you default in your payment, let's say you are halfway through the contract. Okay, you are halfway through this contract and you still have maybe half to pay, 50. So 50 to pay. 50 plus interest to pay to the bank. Yeah?
Yes.
So you borrow 100. What would normally happen with this house? What do you think?
They sell it.
The bank.
Bank, normal bank.
They repossess it,
They repossess the home
and then they sell it to get that.
and they sell it to the market. To what do they want to get out of this house?
The
Money.
50%.
What is the
and
money?
The 50% and interest.
They want to get their share. So they, in reality, don't care about you. What they want is to get the number. So they will take your house, okay, and all what they want to do is get their 50. Regardless, what will they do to the house market? Because they don't care, house is maybe 100, they don't care if they sell it even 51. 50, exactly, just to get their part.
And this what happened.
This is what happens.
And what happens to you?
They don't care. They don't care what happens to it at all. You could end up paying half of your lifetime.
At the end, they
At
take
the end, you have nothing.
What do we do if something like this happens in Musharaka?
Okay. So let's say something like this happens in Musharaka. You now come to this position where you owe 50-50. And for whatever reason, halas, you can't pay. That's it. I can't pay. Now, how do we settle this? How do we do? What do we do now? What can we do now? You can't make any more payment. Well, I give you time and all of these things, but at the end, we have to sell the house. So we go to the market. And let's say we sell it for 50 again, like the normal bank. We sell it for 50. What's going to happen? Will the end be like in the bank?
no.
No.
No, because you owe 50%. So whatever you sell it for, you get 50%. So now bank will say, wait a minute, I'm not going to sell it for nothing because I am having some skin in the game, as we said. Now whatever I sell it for, I know I'm going to get only 50%, whatever is the price. So it's now in the bank's interest to what? To get real price for the house, not just dump it on the market. So now bank will actually try to get it for the real price. You see, now this small guy who cannot take on the bank and fight them have built-in system that protects him.
Subhanallah.
You understand?
That's true.
So here, this now, how did this little detail lead us to global financial crisis? You want to hear that?
Yes.
Only this, only this thing. We've explained the financial crisis and complexities before, but look at just this thing, how it led to the initial collapse. Now, in the financial crisis, as you know, we described this before. The loans, you remember those? We said subprime loans,
Yes.
those given to the people who could not afford them. We said they were packaged, sold. people bet on these things and they took swaps, insurance, and all of these things. We explained that. But take a little detail out of this. You know, when these people, when they went to the neighborhood, you remember they sold these to ninja generation, no income, job, or asset, you know. We call them bodybuilder sales guys, you know. So when they go to the neighborhood, okay, so this is a neighborhood in US. So they have houses there, okay? Okay? All these different houses. All right, how's my drawing? Is it improving these days?
Yes.
All right, now,
I can see a whole city now.
it's getting better, yes. So this is a neighborhood in the US somewhere. Now, people did not own these homes, they were building and so on. So these bodybuilder sales guys, they came and they started pushing people to get the loans. They say, you know, price of the house always increase. Don't worry, we're going to give you honeymoon rates first couple of years. You don't even have to pay interest in some cases, you know. People are paying less than the interest. So what happened? And they say, you don't even need the equity to put deposit. Here's 100%, plus no interest. So you had, like waitress making $20,000, $30,000, get a house, couple hundreds of thousands.
You just needed to sign the
just
contract.
need to sign. Okay, why? We explained before, they were building those dodgy products to sell them to investment banks. But anyway, what's happened is detail I want to show you here. When you are divorced from the risk as a bank. You see here, we want to marry you with the risk. But when you want to be divorced with the risk and get a profit, what's going to happen is number one. Let's say this neighborhood houses are about 100. Let's say all of them are about 100. Maybe this is 95. This is, I don't know, 100 again. This is 103. This is 102. Okay, so all of them about 100, these homes. So you gave them all the homes. Now this guy is having a problem. This guy here. He is having a problem with normal banks. It started hitting him. They started pushing the interest rates up. He is really now suffering. He cannot make a repayment. Now let's say he already paid some chunks, like in our case. Maybe they already paid 50%, but anyway, it's not like that, but let's supposedly. Let's say he paid 50, so there is 50 left. Or let's say, no, it was not that much, but let's say he
30.
paid quarter, so there is 75 left, okay? Now, and they say you can't, he still owe bank this much to the bank. He paid 25. Now this bank goes and say, you can't make it, bad luck, you know, we're going to foreclose on you, repossess the home. How much this bank is going to put this house on the market for?
They're going to put it for 75.
They're just going to get out of it. They don't care what he's going to get. They want to do quick sale, fire sale, just as soon as possible.
Protect only myself.
Protect myself.
Yeah.
Okay, what are they focusing? They're focusing on this guy and their money here. I still have 75 locked here. Get it on the market. So they go to this agency for selling. They say put it on the market. And they maybe get what? They maybe get 80 for it. Because, you know, they have to pay also marketing guy and this salesperson. So they get 80, all right? What will happen with these properties when this house is now sold for 80? And now, of course, they get their 70 and they are happy, okay? But now, what was the last price here?
It was 80.
Okay? Now the house here is sold for 80. What do you think these guys in these other houses who also borrow from the same bank here gonna think? Now each of them borrow 100. This price sold for 80. Suddenly, all of these houses, can they now sell their houses for 100 if this in the same street is selling for 80?
No.
No.
The price
So
value
now
drops.
my house price is going down for all of these houses. Several months after, this guy having the problem now. Maybe he's at 70 now. So this bank now can't even get 80. So they have to pay 70. Now this guy, eventually house will be sold and repossessed and guy kicked out with nothing for 70. And this is the supply and demand. We talked about it previous class. So suddenly across the board, this guy saying there is no way I'm going to get anything close to 100. Plus my loan is now still 80 maybe, or whatever. And he's starting getting very suspicious. By the time he's thinking, this guy having the problem. Now these people, because it's all happening around the country, these guys getting panicking, they say, let's just finish it with 60. Okay? What do you think is going to now happen? We'll find out, inshallah, after the break, when we're going to continue this case. Welcome back. We are discussing musharaka and comparing home financing through Islamic way with the conventional one. Just before the break, we were giving a case study about the situation in the global financial crisis that led banks to give irresponsibly loans, and then when people started having difficulty in repayment, they tried to protect themselves, insure themselves by selling these assets as quickly as they could. So we are analyzing one suburb. It's a fictional suburb, but it is a real story. So we are up to the moment where houses in that suburb were about 100, and because of dumping them on the market, increasing supply, and therefore reducing the prices, entire suburb started losing. So we are up to the, where? We are up to this guy. So this guy is now defaulting. All right? Now this is happening now in several suburbs. So just because he is now got 60, what's going to happen with the buyers of these houses? They see houses are dropping everywhere. It's this suburb. There is another suburb like this. So this we can replicate somewhere else, and another place, and another place. So what's happening? Buyers see this is dropping now. All right, you want 60, it was 100. I don't want it. I can buy 60 another place. So if you want my money, you better put it at 50. So now bank, realizing their mistake, they say, okay, better lose 10 than hold 60. Sell it for 60. Sell it for 50.
For 50.
Okay, sell it for 50. Now then, this become 50. And as they say, English say, good luck selling these other ones for 50. It's not going to go. So now, this guy here now is thinking, I still owe bank 80, and my house is worth how much?
40.
50, maybe 40, maybe less. How does that work? I'm paying interest on 80 while my house is 50. Hardly. What I'm going to do now, I will take my key from my pocket and I say, see this key, bank? I'm going to leave it. Here, you take it and continue paying the loan. Okay? And that's true. That's exactly what's happened. Because in US there is also law. If you do that, leave it, you can walk away. Bank can't do anything. So this is what they call these foreclosures. So even before, because it doesn't make sense. I'm paying loan of 80 plus interest for something half that. I already lost. Now, until today, you see how many houses were affected. And this one will do the same soon. Now, this is a big shock. You know, it's a funny story and all that. But imagine this family having to move from the suburb with the kids, new school, new friends, stress, where they're going to live, where they're going to find, being kicked out or having forced to leave. It's a huge stress. Now, how many a year until today people in US are losing homes like this? It's every day happening. Give me a number a year.
Millions.
Million plus. And it's increasing. Every year is 1 million of these people lose the home. And it's increasing every year until today. Can you believe that? Imagine a situation where you have this. There are houses I have seen. Recently there was an interesting podcast I listened on my phone. It's called Planet Money. It's by NPR in US. And I was listening. It's about economy, very interesting. It sort of gives you overview of certain events that are taking place. And there was this story of a similar suburb where parents had a daughter. And I think the price of their house, there were two houses, you know, their house was like something like 150,000, and the house in neighborhood was selling like 40, 50. And close by, one of these houses was selling for about, I think 12. And their daughter, who was, I think, not more than 15, 16, she bought the house. And she made money by, when they repossessed the home, you know, they throw out these things. She was collecting these things, selling them on eBay, and she collected money. So this junk from the house that she sold was worth more than the house. And now they reported in episode 2 that she bought another one. And they say house next door was sold before for 150, 60. Now, imagine the situation like this. Millions of people. Houses are dropping down to maybe 10, 20, 30% of their value. How systemic problem is this? I mean, you talk about cancer. Talk about cancer and how it spreads, how it eats you, how it destroys you. Is this not worse than a cancer?
It's worse.
It is.
How many suicide people do just because of this? How much stress, how much crime? Imagine the crime to repay and all these things. So this is what we say. One simple thing, you divorce them from the bank, and they think they are protected. You see, the bank who is doing this, they don't think. First of all, these guys are, you remember, they were doing this, selling to someone, transferring risk to someone, then they transfer to someone, and so on. So they don't think. They think, just because I did some clever short-term gain, I'm not going to be affected. Well, you have to understand, we are all people in general, as an economy, is like a ship. And you remember what Prophet ﷺ told us about the ship? Example of a ship. Who remembers?
The people on the top deck and the bottom deck.
Yes.
So the people of the bottom deck wanted water.
Yes, all right. So they wanted water. All right, so let's draw that. So I'm following you. All right. I'm going to draw this. Okay, let me see. Okay. So we have some sea. We have some ship, okay? Okay. So there were two decks. Okay? So what's happening on this ship?
So the people at the bottom deck,
Okay.
they needed some water.
So we call them bankers, yeah?
Bankers.
Okay, so they want a water, which is what? Like a profit,
Which
let's
is like
say.
a profit.
Or whatever is the water.
So they wanted to go and ask the top deck, but
All right, so these are us. Not US, us people.
so someone said, no, don't disturb them.
Yeah.
You
So
can make a hole and
just
take
make a little hole here. Yeah? Maybe make another one here because there are more people, you know. Maybe another few. You know, you know, what's. And then what? It's a sea. For God's sake, we are in the sea, surrounded by water. Just make it the hole, and you know, we're going to have plenty of water. Wow, what these bankers are really smart. You know, the way, and not just the water, they got it full on. You know, open a tap. That's why they pay this guy who came up with that idea 100 million a year. Because he was so clever. All right, so what's the hadith telling us after that?
the people from the top deck.
These us, okay?
Does
It's
not
not
do something.
lollipops. This is us. Yeah.
Does not does not do something to stop those
Okay.
people.
So this. Do not do something to stop.
The bottom deck from doing that action.
Yes.
Then all of us drown.
All of the ship is going to go down. Okay. Now what do we learn from this example?
That all of us are together.
This is they're going to destroy us and themselves
And
because of the stupid action they are doing. They don't realize they destroy themselves. We are talking about US. We're not talking about Mecca and Medina. This happened in US, in their city. It will affect their kids. That's why you see Occupy Wall Street movements. They won't occupy. They say, forget these people. What they're doing doesn't make any sense. Even there was a woman carrying the sign saying, "We want a bank like the Muslims." All right. So, but the point is that they need water in this ship as well. The people need alternative. People need a way to do things, but it cannot be done this water. By the way, even if they get this water from it is salty water, isn't it? It's not going to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, even that water will kill them. You know, if you drink salty water, it will increase your desire to drink it, and it's shut down system. It will kill you eventually if you keep doing that. So we have to find alternative that puts everybody in sort of just way. Okay, so and this is what we don't want to see. This is what we want to prevent, and this is why we have this partnership, so that keeps bank in check, keep their desire in check.
Yes.
Incentive. If bank does not have incentive to play nice, then how are you going to do it as an individual? How are you going to hold? Now the problem today, what we have, why not many banks are doing this and that, even Islamic banks, is, you know, sometimes it's also here found. You see, I don't want to blame banks for everything. Sometimes we are so dodgy. You see, we will try to trick Islamic bank, and I have seen it so many times. You give people profit and loss, especially in Western countries. There is no judicial kind of, you know, like a court that we can refer it, arbiter. Nobody understands what musharaka is. There is nothing, no one to refer to. And these guys will try to take huge advantage. So that's why we can't just blame these greedy bankers, even our greedy bankers sometimes, but we have to have really that when we enter this, we should be responsible as well. Don't do something that will violate for everybody else. You know, so this is why we have to kind of have really, we have to be as a Muslims, people who fulfill our contract to the best of our abilities. We don't go and hate the bank and try to harm it just because they expose themselves. We genuinely try to work together to fix this. So that is partnership. Okay, that is partnership. Now let me give you example. All right, ready for some examples?
Yes.
Okay, so in this case we have party A and B. They invest 50. Okay, what sort of business we are investing in?
Capital contribution. Musharaka.
Okay, so musharaka and what's our business?
Fruit business.
Okay, so fruit
Fruits.
business. What sort of fruit?
Basically watermelons.
Watermelons. Okay, so I hope you have some after the
We import
break.
it from South
In the
Africa.
break, okay, South Africa. They make good watermelons there?
Yes, they have good watermelons.
Really?
Nice and big.
Okay, so keep them in the fridge, okay? Tell the guys there behind. Now, A and B, they invest 50. So A put 30, okay, contribution, and B, they invest 20, okay? It's like the units in something. Maybe it's some sort of fund or a business. They buy like a share or units, okay? This capital contribution. A will get, this is agreement, okay? A will get 80%. So the profit, okay, is what? 80-20. 80-20, okay?
Okay.
How much is the loss
The loss is
30-20.
30-20.
in percentage total?
60,
60, 40. Okay. So 60,
40.
40.
40.
So this is a profit, this is a loss. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see the next. Now, the whole business is now worth how much?
100.
50.
50.
50. And then after, let's say, a period of
A
time,
period of time it
Fifty.
is.
it grows.
Mhm.
It's a good business.
Mhm.
It grows to 100. Now, we are doing all of these examples based on Introduction to Islamic Finance by Mufti Taqi Usmani book, Introduction to Islamic Finance. I find it probably the most simple and straightforward and to the point book there is. I mean, there are a few others. We also use Ayofi and a few other little examples here and there. But we try to make it as conservative, as mainstream, and as much as possible as we know, aligned to what is the Sunnah and what is acceptable in the Sharia. And sometimes we do discuss different schools of thought in certain aspects if that is necessary. Okay. But these examples that I'm giving pretty much straightforward. There is not much dispute or anything, and you will see that. Okay, so now we invested this. This was originally, and this is this. Now, let's see. How will the profit be divided between the partners? How will the profit be divided between the partners? So they
Basically
started with 50.
Mhm.
Their profit was 50, so it's total now,
100.
okay, 100.
So,
So how will the profit be divided?
the profit will be
80 for A and 20 for B.
So A will get how much?
A will get 80.
80.
80.
What, 80 of what?
80 from 100.
No, we just talk about profit now,
80.
not the capital contribution.
So he will get 80%.
So we get, profit is 50, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he will get from that 50, how much is 80% of
40.
50?
40.
40. Okay? So
40.
A will get 40,
Okay. 40.
and the other part will get,
10.
10.
10 to
10.
10.
okay.
Okay.
Now, if I want to get A to buy shares from the B,
Mhm.
at this point, before we didn't divide profit or anything, if I want A to buy shares of B, buy them out, how much A needs to pay?
20.
Mm.
I mean, the amount be invest at the first
Mhm.
place.
All right, keep that thought. Inshallah, we're going to have a short break. And then when we come back, we are going to look at the solution for this example. Welcome back. We are talking about case study based on Musharaka principles, and we're trying to work out the solution. Basically, it goes something like this. Two partners agree to buy 50 units in some sort of fund. A bought 30 and B 20 units. After a while, that fund did something with that money, or, you know, it increased the value to 100. They initially agreed to share profit in 80-20. So 80% to go to A
20%.
and 20 to B. However, their initial contribution was 60-40. So 60% for A, 40% to the other party. Question that we have here is, if now A wants to buy B, they want to buy the whole business. Let's say this was like a business. They want to buy a whole thing. How much they need to pay? How many units they need to purchase back?
They need to purchase 10 units back.
They need to purchase. So we are here. We are here. There was initial contribution. There was the profit. A needs to give how much? Let's say me and you are in this. I'm A, you are B. I say, here, before we distribute any profit, forget the distribution.
Mm.
I want to buy everything from you. How much I need to pay?
40.
40?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, how did you calculate? You agree with that?
No, I'm gonna go for 30.
30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did you calculate 40?
I calculated 40 because initially in the 50%, in the 50 units,
Uh-huh.
when we worked out how much they contributed, it was 60-40 for the
All
profit.
right. So B contributed how much then?
He contributed 40.
20.
20,
20.
which is,
So 20. Okay. And then?
and then now when it doubled up on
Yeah.
100, it's as if he contributed 40.
As if he contributed 40. Do you agree with that?
No, I think 20 is for the capital
Right.
and the 10 for the 50 from the profit.
You agree with that?
Mm,
What do you think?
I'm not sure.
So
Needs some thinking.
you start thinking. Okay, think. That's okay. We'll have some of that watermelon. All right. Now you are thinking right. You have to think right first.
Mm.
Have to separate these things.
Yes.
Okay, so this 100 you have to separate it because this 50 is now here. Okay,
Okay.
so if I'm now dividing these two, this 100, I'm looking now on this 100. Now the 50 and 50. 50 is original partnership contribution.
Mhm.
50 is a profit. Okay?
Okay.
This is contribution. Now, when we are talking about dividing contribution, must be according to what we give.
What we gave in the
So we're
initial.
going to give to A how much from
His
this?
We're going to give back to him his
Which rule we're going to follow in this
30,
uh,
20.
30, what initially was given.
initial rule?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that is
Mhm.
60-40. So
64.
here we follow 60-40 because that's how much they originally, in percentages, they contributed.
Mm.
30 is 60% and 20 is 40% of
40%.
that 50.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay? So we give to A how much?
We give him to A. We give 60,
So remember, we said 60-40 of this is
30.
30,
so 30. So A gets 30, this is their share, and B, their share from here,
20.
20.
20.
Okay, how about this profit then? What's the going to be ratio of distributing profit now?
The ratio of distributing profit will be
80-20.
80-20.
80-20. You see?
Mhm.
Now profit goes by profit rate.
Mhm.
What we agreed, which is 80-20. So A, in this case, would get how much?
40.
40.
40. Okay? And B, 10.
10.
10.
So therefore, if I want to buy B out, you have to give them this and you have to give them this, which is 30. Okay?
Okay.
So this is, you have a partner, you go in a business, they want to retire, you work out how much I have to give you to say thank you. Okay? So
Mm.
this is how it is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, makes
Yes.
sense.
Any questions you have on this one?
No.
Okay. Now we have few questions to see if we can spot any problems in this. So let's say A and B enter in a partnership. Okay? So we are talking about musharaka, yeah? So it's a new case. It's just going to be yes or no or testing our understanding of the principles of partnership. So A and B enter into the partnership and they say it is agreed between them A shall be given $10,000 per month. Okay? So we enter, I don't know, whatever. We enter into the partnership and we say A will get each month 10,000 as a share of his profit from this partnership.
Mm.
And the rest will go to B. Is this okay?
No, this is not partnership.
Mm-hmm.
This is not partnership, dividing the profit and loss.
Okay. What is this then?
Because
So-
we have to say in the contract how much I'm going to get and how much you're going to get.
Okay, so what is the problem here? Is there a problem? I mean, he's going to get that from the profit,
Mhm.
he's going to get this, and A is going to get the rest.
Mhm.
So maybe if there is a 20, you will get 10, he'll get 10.
The problem here is that he has stipulated for himself an amount, and we do not know what is the amount for B.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
basically, this is same like it's same like
Gharar.
gharar.
Okay, that's true. That is absolutely true. The B amount is uncertain. Okay? Now, whenever we also give ratio, it's also uncertain, isn't it?
Well, it has to be fixed.
Hmm?
It has to be fixed.
What? It is fixed 10,000.
No, I mean the rate for both of them.
Okay. So it's a fixed, the rest after 10,000, it's fixed.
But the initial agreement is not written.
So what did we say? How do we split the profit and loss?
We split it by each person should
Get ratio, percentage of the profit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we have to say you get 10% or and you get 90, or I get 25, you get 75. It has to be ratio. It cannot be fixed number. It cannot be fixed number. This is riba then. Why? Because they give money and they are getting fixed return for the money.
Yes.
We fixing the return. Plus they could be in loss. So what then? So whenever you have partnership, as you can see here, proportion or a profit to be distributed between must be agreed upon at the time before. So proportion, what is the part of the profit? So we have this watermelon. Now, mine is 1/3. That's it. Whether it's go up or down, it's a 1/3 from the profit. So that's how we do it. So always we have to make sure that the profit for each partner is determined as a proportion of the actual profit. Okay? So this must be also from the actual profit, not a lump sum. Okay? Or some rate.
Okay.
You say, okay, we'll give you whatever is we benchmark profit, like whatever is the LIBOR, which is the interest rate, we give you, or whatever is the rate of inflation. Can we link
No.
and say 10% plus inflation rates here?
No.
No, because profit must be done in the beginning, fixed. You can't get it to float. Okay?
Yes.
What about, sir, if I said, for example, I have supermarket and I understand the market.
Yep.
And yani, if someone joined this field, he's going to earn fixed amount of money.
Mhm.
So in the start, I said that I expect that I'm going to get such a profit.
Mhm.
So you'll take this amount of money.
Uh,
So if I said that I expect
yes.
this amount of money.
Yes. So you run a supermarket. So this is a supermarket,
Exactly.
and then what happens?
I said that I'm going to get profit
Let's say 20,000.
20,000.
20,000.
Okay. So you'll get from this 20,000 900 or 9,000.
Who will get 9,000?
The other party.
Party here,
Party A,
investor.
yeah, investor
Okay,
has
so
the
you are
supermarket.
estimating, you're thinking he will get.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm in the market in this.
Sure.
for a long
Okay, so you
time.
do it regular, so you kind of
Yeah.
know roughly.
So I said to the my partner B
Uh-huh.
that I'm expecting that I'm going to get
Yes.
20,000.
Yes.
So I'm going to take 1,000, 10,000, and you'll
leave
take.
the rest. Okay.
I'll leave the rest.
Whenever you distribute profit, like a dividends in a company, you know, when every year, at the end of the financial year, company must, maybe twice a year or whatever, they must distribute earnings, dividends to the shareholders.
Mhm.
This, like in the partnership, is done from the real profit. Okay, so when you actually get the profit, you
Okay.
distribute it. Otherwise, if person wanted to get fixed income, okay, they want to get 10,000, how do we do it?
Normally, you just stipulate it. You
Hmm? How do we do that? Is
After
it
we got
possible? Is it possible to have it something like this? Then you are not a partner anymore. You work. You are
work.
hired.
yes, you are hired.
We hire you for 10,000. So if you want to do that, that's a different story. We hire you. You work for us.
Mm.
And you get for your work 10,000. But you have to decide what you want to be. Work on a business as investor or inside the business as a manager or
yeah.
a labor or something like that. So this is what you have to do. Okay. Now let's look at example in the modern corporations like this. Now we said two investors A and B, but what about shares in a company? You know, shares, stock, what do you call them? Okay. Everything good with our cameras? This that I'm always moving these things, so never know what's going to happen. So what about shares? Shares.
Like
What are the shares?
shares is basically investing into a company and
Mm-hmm.
getting a
In
share.
the money
of-
market, you
in-
mean?
In the you remember Wall Street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day we hear nice things about it.
Nice.
Yes, isn't it? Yeah.
Right.
Oh, beautiful, nice, lovely place. Okay. So inshallah, we will continue this discussion in our next episode when we are going to see really what the shares are, what they are made of, are we allowed to buy them, sell them, make a profit out of it, and so on. So inshallah, join me in next episode, and Assalamu alaikum.